welcome everybody to the outreach meeting for Ortelius on November 21st. Let me drop the link into the chat. There we go. So just some of the things Tracy has been working on, the documentation, cleaning that up, especially around the install process. And I've been trying to work on getting the Helm charts cleaned up so they will install with Sasha's Ortelius in the box through Terraform. I don't know if the build's done, but what we ended up having to do to simplify things was we had to move some of the key generation around. And I think I have that sorted out. So Sasha, I think later today or definitely tomorrow we'll have it should be all up and going for you. One of the things that we still need to have is a Postgres database. I couldn't get a volume mounted Postgres to work, so we have an internal Postgres engine running because of the read write many issue with like GKE and Azure. We could have gotten around it with a NFS server, but it seemed like to complicate things too much. So what we may need to do, Sasha, is on our Azure cluster, Brad stood up a Postgres pod, and we're able to connect to that internally. So as part of your Terraform and the install instructions, we may need to talk about standing up using the Bitnami Postgres Helm chart to stand up Postgres as part of that.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it's definitely simplifying things. So things are looking much better on that front. And that's provisioning all the microservices and everything like that into the single namespace.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
So I think overall, this is definitely this path of cleaning up the documentation and doing a one-stop Ortelius in a box definitely has made for improvements in the product overall.
Oh, that's great. I've got my dev environment completely figured out now, and it's deploying like really well. So it's like deploys in like 2 minutes. You've got Ortelius in a box up and running. The only thing I'm still stuck on, I just need your help with that engine and stuff. I was trying to figure it out, but maybe it's a Mac thing, or it's probably just a me thing. I just need your help with some understanding there. But I've got a nice monitoring tool called Mizu. It's a K8 API. They call it the K8 API monitor, and it's so easy for developers just to deploy and to tear down without any residue left over in their cluster, and they can easily see traffic going between the microservices. So it gives them a very nice platform to see how their microservices are communicating. Yeah.
Cool. And will you be able to do the Postgres under kind, or is that going to be an issue? It'll be okay. All right.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, cool. So that's going to be, so I think overall, we should be able to have a Ortelius in the box that will deploy to kind and then out to cloud providers pretty easy on that front. Like I said, I got rid of a lot of the key generation steps, so there's no like pre-steps that you have to run anymore on that front.
Okay, cool.
So it's basically just giving it the database password and which namespace that you put it into. Cool. And we may be able to even, if we assume that the database is going to be running inside of the cluster, inside of the cluster, then we can kind of derive the URL for the database the host name, because it'll be like it'll be something like ortelius.default.svc.cluster or .local. So there's a well-known pattern that we may be able to drive from on that front, but so that's coming across really well for that.
Cool.
So that's kind of going to be the next thing I need to look at on that front is the deploying that out to our Azure cluster as part of a GitOps process. So I have to look at how Brad has our Argo CD configured.
So this is a nice thing about this environment, is that we can give this a go locally, right? We can understand these things before we even go near the cloud. So we don't all have to, so we can all be, everybody can be sort of on, in terms of knowledge share, can be on the same level, right?
Yep, exactly.
We're not relying on one person, and we can test things out. Everybody can test things out for you, or all the community, right?
Yep.
And in a very like for like environment, right?
Yeah, and that's where I want to get the Argo CD back up and running. It's installed. It just doesn't seem to be configured quite right for our to monitor the repos. I did move some things around in the repos to make things work easier. But one of the things I'd like to do is to get the Argo to auto deploy the Ortelius. You know, whenever we do a PR, it would go ahead and auto deploy out to the Azure cluster. And then also I have to do the same work for the documentation and the website. Right now I'm doing both the doc and the website updates to the Azure cluster manually. Just because Argo just isn't quite plumbed together. It seems like it's just like missing triggers or something.
Okay. Maybe we can get together on that one if you want.
Yeah,
because I've got Argo deploying into the Ortelius as a box perfectly, but obviously it's not configured. It's just a vanilla deployment, right? So I want to incorporate Argo in there so that we all get that learning, right? Like on our local machine, anybody can deploy it. Just a Terraform, book, and there you go. You've got Ortelius up and running in like a mini cloud environment running on your machine.
So what are you deploying in your Terraform? So you got Ortelius itself and Argo.
Ortelius, Argo, ArangoDB is deploying, and I've got the Nginx controller that is maintained by the Kubernetes community deployed.
Okay.
And what it does is it uses your local IP as your external IP. That's how it works. So your entry point into your cluster will be your local IP.
Got it. And then you're going to add the Postgres to that as well, right?
Yeah. And then I just add the Postgres to that and it'll deploy alongside. Yeah.
Cool.
You're also deploying Captain, right?
Captain, we're not going to do Captain. We're going to use the new thing that Steve showed us, the one that is bound into a K8 cluster. The tooling, the toolkit, the Captain toolkit for K8, that one. Yeah. But we can still deploy it. It's deploying. It is deploying. So I can deploy the one that Brad has done so far.
Yeah. So I don't know if you caught that last meeting, but Captain has come out with a new lightweight version that is based on basically CRDs listening to all the Kubernetes events. And Sasha, is called like the Captain Toolkit or something like that.
Yeah, I'll post it quickly in the channel again for everyone. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
So that will be our next step once we get up this up and running, is to do our hook into the Captain part. So after a deployment, that we can do messages back to Ortelius to let us know that it deployed. What got updated and things like that. So
that would be great. Yeah, because I don't see like anybody is using that toolkit yet. So that will be like a sort of testimonial for Captain Toolkit.
Yeah. And this is easy to integrate into the automation. It can deploy as part of the automation. So it's not hard to integrate it.
Yeah, the Captain Toolkit was kind of showcased at KubeCon in Detroit a couple weeks ago, so that it's really new. But when we were talking to the lead developer on it, it definitely is simplifying how we can interact with it.
And we need to do a call with how do you say his name? Alois. He is the lead developer, and he had agreed that he would be happy to meet with us, the team. So I'm assuming sometime after our Thanksgiving, I'll schedule a call, kind of like we're doing with Roadie, which is Backstage.
Yep. So Tracy, why don't you go ahead and fill us in on Backstage then?
So I had reached out to, I've been talking about maybe doing an integration to pull in their defined components from Backstage. So I reached out to Roadie, the CTO of Roadie, who is, they run basically a SaaS version of Backstage. And she's happy to meet with us and the team to chat about what that integration might look like and what we'd have to do.
We have already done an integration with Ortelius. There is already a repository.
With
Brad was working on
Backstage?
that.
With
Yes, with Brad, Backstage, yes.
We did? I didn't know that.
I saw Brad was doing a whole bunch of stuff in there. Yeah, you're right. I've got the repo too. And I went the other day there and I did a pull. I was like, whoa, all the stuff disappeared.
Well, maybe we need to get somebody. Utkarsh, are you going to be on that call?
Yeah, I think I'm already invited on that call. So it's tomorrow, right?
It is tomorrow. Yeah. Well, if you can, if you could wrap your head around what we've already done, so when we chat with her, we can let her know what we did and what it looks like.
Okay, sure.
Because I've not seen any of it. Maybe that's something that maybe I can get Brad to do a recording of it, and we can have him do show the integration with Backstage for December. If we've already done something, it'd be nice to see what it is.
Yeah, because I was looking at it for deploying it with my Terraform, and then I saw this repo in Ortelius called Backstage, and I was like, someone's already thinking of this. And then I pulled it down, and I was like, oh, cool. Well, I don't have to do anything now because it looks like Brad's already doing something.
Man.
Yeah, if we can figure out what is done, that would be great. Because I'm looking at the repo, and I just there's not.
Looks like everything is done. So
it does, but it doesn't. I can't. I'm looking at the YAML files.
I assumed it was done when he says at the end, good luck with the installation.
Good Brad style.
I was like, Aussie.
So I just can't tell if we're a plugin or what we're doing.
Well, if Utkarsh and Steve, if you guys just take a minute to look at the README and the YAML files he's built out there, maybe we'll get a clear understanding so we can chat with them. Just let them know what we've done. Okay, the other topic for outreach in particular is we did some updates to the website. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Let me pull it up. I've got some questions to see what you guys what you think about some stuff. Okay, so here's kind of the new front end of it. I've just put in a new image and I've moved over the text to the left. I've got some other work to do to add that to all of these other pages. Right now, the other pages, they're still in the center. But on the front page, we used to have a login. I'm going to take this login out. We used to have a login for a hosted version of Ortelius. And Steve, are we still going to have that?
The Deploy Hub will still have that capability, so we can sign them up for a team version. But I think also that we should put in Sasha's Terraform piece on how to run it locally.
Yeah, instead of having a sign in for it, not until we have somebody hosting it other than us.
Right. We will
Okay.
have on our Azure cluster, there will be a site that will be like our dev version, that will be running.
Well, I'm not, what we can add that out somehow on GitHub, but I don't want to put it on the website if we can't keep it up, because this is what it ends up looking like.
Yeah.
That's my question. It's not, my question is, do we want to have this on the website?
I think we should break it out on that front.
Break it out and
have like the local install using Terraform, use a SaaS version through Deploy Hub team, or if you're daring, once we get there, you could go and log into the dev site.
so you think the dev site login should stay on the website, even though we might not always have a dev site to log into?
I don't think we should have a iframe with the login. I think we should just have a link that would take them there with a canned user ID password that people can use, instead of creating your own account for every single person on the dev site. We just have a shared.
Okay, so the reason why I asked, because we took out everything in the documentation about SaaS, and I can all add that back in, but there would be a lot of work to do that.
No, it's not really a SaaS version, but it would be, if you just want to look at it, here's a place to go log in with, test user 1 and test user, password is test user 1.
So don't you think that might be a better place to put it in the in GitHub, maybe under the README here?
Yeah, we could do it there.
That's what I'm trying to get away from having it on the website.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because it's too volatile. And
well, like I said, it wouldn't be an iframe. It would just be a link. Because right now, the what you were just showing us was an iframe, and that's how come the iframe is getting that weird error. If it was just a link, you won't get that error. But if you want to click on the link and it wasn't available, then it would get an error.
Well, I'm pushing to get anything about the SaaS version off of the website, since we've taken all the documentation out. And if in terms of the development environment, I can add it to the development environment, but I feel like we should just get away from the SaaS.
Yeah, we could put it into the contributor guide under viewing your changes on a development environment.
Yeah. And then they could sign up and everybody would have their own IDs, because I think that they should.
I'll have to check on that to see if that's, I think it's still going to be there. I can't remember if that was removed or not.
Okay. All right, so that's all. And then we do have Utkarsh, thank you for stepping up and adding yourself to our events. We have two lightning talks that we have yet to do. And I will reach out to Brad, see if he wants to record a lightning talk for us. I know he won't be on live because it's at a weird hour for him, but maybe he'll record a lightning talk around backstage. And so that gives us one more, and it only has to be 10 minutes. So we're pretty much ready for this. And Arvin and Sasha, I went ahead and cleaned up the old recording we did for this Dining with Abraham Ortelius. And so you guys are all done. Yeah, you're all done. You don't have to worry about anything.
Are we actually done?
Yeah, I'll just, you're done.
Wow. Thanks.
Yeah, I just took the old version that we did for the CDF meetup, and I added, I cut out some stuff and just used that.
Okay, thanks so much, Casey.
No problem.
That's nice.
Yeah, exactly, right? You'll have to do it again.
I am thinking of doing another one.
We're reusing it. And so, Steve, I need to get your presentation recorded. I need to get mine, and and Utkarsh, we need to get yours. And then I'll see if we can get Brad to do something, and Nat West will probably have somebody do one as well. Now, I did create a, where did I put it out here? No, I can't remember. I know I put it in the documentation. I've been updating the documentation as well. Sasha, here is where you can find. Oh, I got an error with these. I thought. Where did I put it?
What are you looking for?
I thought that I had updated this document that show where you can download the PDF.
Like I said, that part is manual, so I probably have not put out
Updated it yet.
the latest version. I didn't know you checked in your changes.
Yeah. Okay. So I wrote a manual and Sasha, I'll mail it to you. Let me see if I can just find it this way.
I put some posts in the chat for everybody to see the tools that I've chosen for developers and anybody who wants to use the dev environment so that they can actively and very easily troubleshoot, have a visual DNS and certificate if you need certificate testing. You can make your own certificate.
Oh, cool.
Which is very, yeah. So there's a tool called MakeCert, another tool called LocalDB for your DNS. So you don't need to set anything up, right? Just be your host file.
So I created this document, and Sasha, I'll send it over to you. That talks about it gives a high level view of Ortelius. So it's basically a proof of concept.
Oh,
so
cool.
It walks through what the criteria is for the proof of concept. It walks through installing it. I do have here a SaaS option, but I have it going to Deploy Hub instead of the one that we've been working on, because we're hosting a Deploy Hub team version of Ortelius. So if somebody wanted to do it for free, you could do it over there instead of us trying to host two versions of it.
I don't mind doing it anyway. I'll do it for Deploy Hub.
Okay. And then installing this. Yeah. And then the most important part is the CI/CD part. Is installing that. And so there's an installation instructions. And then there is a whole thing on how to run the proof of concept.
Cool.
To set up your the CLI. So I believe that and what this will do is it will go out and it will create an application and it will create a component, and then it will continually monitor them through the pipeline. So there's 4 steps, and one of the steps is to add a generation of an SBOM tool. A lot of companies aren't using it, so one of the steps allows you to do that so that we can, at the end of the day, show this kind of information, the SBOM and the CVE vulnerabilities as part of the POC. So I'll shoot you an email with this, Sasha.
Cool.
So you can
please do.
tinker with it, see how it runs. And that information is also reflected in here. Get started adding Ortelius to your pipeline. That's this exact same. It's the same information, I believe, except it looks like I've got an error on my my images, which I'll work on as soon as I get done with this call.
So Tracy, is it a doc or a website update that the PDF's in?
I think you had me put the PDF in. I think the PDF is actually working. If I can remember how to get to it. Test your installing your image. Yeah, I thought this stuff is old. So on the new version of installing Ortelius, I have just the 3 steps that's required. And at the end, it says next step is do a POC. And then you can click on that. It's a PDF.
All right. So you're in the docs.
I'm in docs. Yeah. So the docs haven't been updated.
Okay. They're going out right now.
Okay, great.
Try holding down the shift key and refreshing.
That looks better. Okay, so now the installation is 3 steps. And we have this proof of concept, which takes us to here. And now I probably need to still, and there's our images. Our images are nice. So that's all done. So if you want to see this,
Whoa.
Yeah, I've got a PDF that's pretty. So here's the whole PDF again. Or you
Oh,
can
this is
just do it
cool.
from the doc. Yeah,
So we can do this in our dev environment, right? We can practice, like we can test it out
yes,
and give you good
yes,
feedback.
yes, that's the goal.
Awesome.
One of the, as some of you who are on the board know, one of the requests from Sergio was for us to work on onboarding and adoption. So this is all of this work is in response to making it easier to onboard so that we can start pushing adoption. So in 2023, I want to be able to have all of this stuff kind of in your face when you first get to here.
Exactly.
So I don't want, that's why I'm pushing back on having anything SaaS related up here, since I've taken all the SaaS references out. It just makes it confusing. But we can say,
like
hey,
that
if you're a
view, Dan.
contributor. Yeah, isn't that cool?
That is so cool.
I thought so too. I liked it.
Yeah.
So Tracy, we got a couple minutes real quick. The governing board elections, when are those happening? Or are they done?
It's all out. You have to vote by December 7th, and we'll make the announcement on the 14th.
Okay. So get your votes in.
Yes, please get your votes in.
Be like
Oh,
we do in
that's it.
Chicago. Vote often.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. How many times are we supposed to vote?
You should only have one vote.
I think it'll only allow you to do one vote on that website.
Yeah.
Well, here I was going to support your initiative.
Now, if you do a different email address, you can rig the vote.
And everybody knows that that's almost impossible to do, right?
Almost impossible.
Not for Steve.
I apologize. I've got to shoot to my next meeting.
I do
Alright,
too.
we're on the
All
same
right.
boat.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Ciao, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
And Sasha, I'll be in touch with you
Bye-bye.
on Discord.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.